Christian business owners, are you craving transformation in your business? And not just in your business, but also in your life? Are you starving for transformation in your business as a Christian? Are you starving for transformation in your personal life as a Christian? Imagine being part of a community of Christians, part of a church that is focused on people just like you. People who say the most important thing in my life is to be transformed to be like Jesus. Let's take a look at what that church, what that community of Christians might look like that would help you and all those in it get their life aligned in all areas of their life, starting with you individually and then moving out to your business so that it's aligned with God's heart, which is making disciples of all nations. So what I'm calling it is the new seeker-sensitive church model. The new seeker-sensitive church model. So if you're familiar with the old seeker-sensitive or the current seeker-sensitive church model, it's the model that is supposed to be sensitive to those who are seeking what it might look like to follow Jesus. And so what they try to do is they try to create an environment within their church that is comfortable and familiar to unbelievers. And that gets into what is the church, what is the function of the church, is the primary focus of the church, and it's the primary focus of the church meeting, which is what we're talking about here, supposed to be on unbelievers or supposed to be on equipping the saints? Different discussion. That's not what I want to get into here, but the present seeker-sensitive model would be the primary function of the church gathering is focused on unbelievers. What I'm suggesting is, what I'm calling the new seeker-sensitive church model is, what if the church model was sensitive toward people, Christians, or even not Christians, but people who are serious about being transformed to become like Jesus? That's what I'm talking about with the new seeker-sensitive church model. It is sensitive towards seekers that are serious about wanting to become like Jesus. And they would say on a scale of 1 to 5 of importance in their life, how important is it to be transformed to be like Jesus? They would rate that as a 5. So let me give you some idea of the 1 to 5 importance scale that I use in several areas of my coaching when I work with men. But this is it. So a 1, if you say something is an importance level of 1, what that indicates is you're saying it would be nice if that happened, but I'm not willing to invest any effort, any resources, any time, any energy into that happening. An importance ranking of 3 would be, yes, I would like for that to happen, and I am willing to invest some time and some energy and some resources into it, but I'm not willing to go all out. It's not going to be the top priority in my life. An importance level of 5, if you said becoming like Jesus, having my character transformed to be like Jesus, is an importance ranking of 5 in my life. That means this must happen, and I am willing to do whatever is necessary for that to happen. In other words, you have the what's called the wig take. That's WIGTAKE. What's it gonna take attitude toward it, and you are willing to do whatever is necessary to be transformed to be like Jesus. And that's the kind of Christian community, that's the kind of church that I'm talking about here that I would classify as the new seeker-sensitive church. And how do you get to that point where you have the wig take, what's it going to take attitude? I think it's by getting a compelling, overarching vision or purpose for your life. And in line with that, I've created something I'm calling the Northstar Challenge, and it is to give you a North Star or an overarching purpose or vision for your life. And this, I'm sorry women, but this is only for men. And here's the way it works. It will be you and I talking on the phone for 5 days, between probably 30 to 60 minutes. And in those 5 days, we're going to work through a framework that I put together to help you create and develop an overarching vision or purpose for the next 12 months of your life that is aligned with God's heart. The way it works is it's $10, but the $10 doesn't come to me. Down in the show notes, all this is explained. There are 3 nonprofit organizations there. I support all 3. You go down there, you pick one of them, you go online, click on the link, you'll go to their website, donate $10 to one of them, take a screenshot of your completed donation, and then send me that screenshot to either my phone or email, which are both listed in the show notes. I'll get in touch with you, and we'll start down the 5-day journey of creating your overarching vision or purpose, Northstar, for the next 12 months of your life. All right, back to our program here. So we've talked about the focus of the new seeker-sensitive church model. What will that look like? And here's some characteristics that I wrote down of what it would look like. The first one is every person in that community expects, they don't hope, they expect to be transformed to become like Jesus. They expect it to happen, and they're not willing to accept any excuses of it not happening from themselves or for others in the group. In other words, the entire group has a high standard for themselves, each one in the group, and for the group as a whole, and they don't accept excuses. Okay? They expect to be transformed to be like Jesus. Number 2, when this community, this church meets, they're serious. They're serious about doing what's necessary to be transformed, and they're not there to play around. So the people that show up are serious. They're not there to play around. They're not there they're not there to be made to feel good. They are there for one thing, transformation, and they want practical help in how you go about being transformed to be like Jesus. I did some teaching here at a local community college, and I loved it because many of the students in my class were people that were already out working full time. And I was teaching math for people that didn't do so well in the math entrance exam, and so they were already a little nervous about math. But the fact that I had all these people who were already working full time, they were not coming to my class because college was the next thing in line after high school. They were there for a purpose, to get a degree for a specific reason. And the reason I say I loved it is because every one of those people was serious. If they didn't understand something we were going over, they would raise their hand. They would speak up. They would ask questions. And I loved it because why? Because they were serious. This was not fun and games for them. They were taking time out of their life, after work, before work, depending on their work schedule, away from their family to do this. And so they showed up and they were serious, and I loved it. That's what I'm talking about. The wig take approach. What's it going to take? I'm showing up at these meetings to be in this group of other Christians, but we're all serious. We're not here for fun and games. We're here for a purpose, and that is for each one of us individually to be transformed to be like Jesus, and for the group as a whole to be transformed to be like Jesus. The third thing is a characteristic of this group is that they are impatient. The transformation from where they are to being like Jesus is not happening fast enough for them. And so they are pushing, never satisfied with where they are. I call it being in the state of joyfully discontent. In other words, you're joyful about where you are, you're enjoying the journey, but you are certainly not content with where you are, and you want to get down the road and advance down the path faster than what it's happening now. Another characteristic is they understand this transformation process is going to be uncomfortable and sometimes painful, and that is fine with them because they have the wig take, what's it going to take approach. And if I have to go through some uncomfortableness, and if I have to go through some pain to get to where I want to be, which is being like Jesus, and I know I should be, and Jesus expects me to be like him, then I am willing to push through it and to tolerate it. Because why? Because Jesus is worth it. And they know this because they have a compelling vision of what life will be like further down the road. And finally, the entire culture of this group that meets, whether it be just a group of Christians that get together on a regular basis or a church, the culture will be transformed from being focused on being sensitive to unbelievers to being sensitive to the needs of those who are serious about trying to be transformed to be like Jesus. And so the majority of the people in this community of believers are those who are serious about doing whatever it's going to take for them to be transformed to be like Jesus. That is the norm. That is the culture. And those who are not like that, who do not have this wig take approach, are the ones that are the outliers. Because now, I'm sure you know, in most communities of Christians, most churches, it is the ones who are serious about wanting to be transformed to be like Jesus and are willing to do what it's going to take to see that happen. They are the outliers. They are the strange ones. They are the oddballs. But when you get a group of people who meet on a regular basis, whose focus is on those who want to become like Jesus and are serious about it and rank that as importance 5 in their life, that will be the culture of that group. And those who are not like that will be the outliers. So think about this. What's going to happen when people who are in this community of believers, whether it be in just a group of believers or a church, what's going to happen when those Christians, what's going to happen when those Christian business owners go out from that group, out from that church, into their businesses, into their community? What's going to be the impact for the kingdom of God from those people who are meeting together and holding the standard high and challenging and encouraging and supporting and training and helping each other to become and be transformed like Jesus, transformed to become like Jesus? That's going to have a radical impact on your business and how you operate your business as a Christian. And that's going to have a radical impact on your personal life. And it's going to have a radical impact on your family's life. And it's going to have a radical impact on all the people that you interact with. And that radical impact is going to be for the kingdom of God. Now, what I always like to end the videos with is practical steps, because this is all great to talk about. What are practical steps that you can do to see this happen? The first one is you have to get a compelling vision of what it looks like to live this life, to be transformed to be like Jesus. Not some pie in the sky vision, but a real, practical, tangible idea, vision of what it looks like as you become more and more transformed in your character to be like Jesus. And I truly believe the best way that's available to you at this very moment is that Northstar challenge that I talked about, that Northstar journey. Go down to the show notes, donate to one of those 3 organizations, $10, send me a screenshot to either my phone or email, and let's get this started. That's the first thing you need to do. Practical step. Let's get a compelling vision, because that will drive you to get the wig take attitude of what's it going to take. I am willing to do whatever it's going to take. The second practical thing you need to do is share what you're learning here with other people you know, Christians you know, so you guys can, those who want to do this, can start meeting together and encouraging each other and challenging each other and holding each other accountable and teaching and training and sharing what it is you're learning as you're going on this journey together. Those are the 2 things you need to do. First, get yourself a compelling vision of what it looks like to live this transformed like Jesus life. A great way to do that is to do the Northstar challenge if you want. The second thing is to share what you're learning with others. Hey, if you like this video and you found it thought-provoking, If you found it challenging, how about sharing it, how about liking it first? And then how about sharing it with some people that you think it will help? And I would sit down, a great thing to do is, I just thought of this, make a list of 4 or 5 names of Christians that you might want to do this with, and then send a link to this video to it so they can see exactly what you saw and have explained what you're talking about, so you guys can all be on board with the same thing. So like this video, share this video, and then consider subscribing to it. And hey, if you really found something specific that was helpful in here, how about leaving a comment in the comments section? And if you think this is totally ridiculous, I'm completely crazy and off my rocker, leave a comment about that too. It won't be the first time I've been called crazy and off my rocker, but comments from both sides help me to be able to produce and create better videos in the future that will help more people.